To your question, Councilor Newton, as when we did our initial look at what the other communities were doing, as I said, there's a wide range of what we see out there. So some of the communities have them tiered as far as like a substantial one, and then smaller ones like Salem, we have one public benefit from the list of 19. So kind of some lower requirements, but they have a lot of different options. For Florence, one substantial and possibly 3 or more sizable public benefits. Corvallis, one substantial or 3 smaller. And Ben's is 3 public benefits, which includes also the affordable housing aspect.
And that's all for 7 years or 10 years?
Those are all for 10.
Okay.
So none of them have the staggered aspect that we're looking at or that tiered aspect.
Okay, that's helpful to know.
But they do categorize them by impact versus having a smaller number for a smaller number of years. Okay, so it's kind of 2 different
Yeah,
methodologies.
what are they saying the more impact one, the higher tiered ones are?
I don't have that in.
Okay, no, that's fine. No, it's all good.
But they did stagger them, right? So they have a higher tier one than a lesser tier.
Some do, yes.
Okay.
Yes, every city is very different, and that's the one good thing about the program is it allows the communities to look at
Some
how
flexibility.
they want to structure it, yes.
We haven't heard from a couple counselors yet. Counselor Thompson, Counselor Smith, Counselor McGee.
Yeah, what's rolling around in my head is as you see the dates on this, council dealt with this in 2024 when I was not on the board, so I've been playing a little bit of catch up. But it kind of feels to me like what's more important to me are the actual projects. And my difficulty is I'm tasked with tonight just giving you the tool. And hopefully, fingers crossed, compliance happens, review happens, et cetera, but it's going to be basically out of my hands. And I can imagine some projects I would be okay with, and some not so much. And that's what I'm listening, and that's what I'm dealing with tonight.
So we would be able to pick and choose the projects, or how's it work?
No, I think it's out of our.
The way that this is set up is that you would pick and choose the details of the program itself, and then if projects met all of the criteria in their review, then they would meet the criteria and be approved. So in some ways, there's a comparison to how development occurs elsewhere within the city, where we have the development code and standards that developments have to adhere to, and if they are meeting their requirements, then the council doesn't have a say in those either.
Yeah, I would just add that exactly what Sophie said is that the MUPD is set up very similar to like a development code. It's a great example as we've established, the council would be establishing that criteria as well as the program guidelines, and then giving staff the ability to kind of regulate that. And I understand, I think it's important when we look at a MUPD tool is really looking back at that financial analysis piece. And a lot of times it's helpful to understand, what is the likelihood of how many of these would we see? How many people would be able to take advantage of the tool? And we don't have crystal balls, but we can take, based on the very small area we're talking about in comparison to the entire city, we can estimate, I would estimate, with probably in the next 3 to 5 years, you might see 1 or 2 projects actually qualify for the use of the MUPD. Because that financial analysis it's a pretty high bar that they have to clear right out of the gate. And the application fee is not small.
Okay. So I haven't called on people I will now call on those registered to speak. Got kind of out of order, so we're going to be talking more. We did have written testimony from Mr. Daniel Koenig. Is that it? Huh? Is it blank? Oh, we got folks? Okay. Okay, Alex Rice is called on fakes. They're in favor. Alex Rice.
Mayor Johnson, members of the council, thank you for your time today. I'd also like to thank Councilor McLeod for her comments. I also would like to see the number of public benefits maximized with this proposal, but I'd also encourage you to not let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Councilor Van Drumlin, I also thank you for your comments. I would also like to see this expanded, but I can understand wanting to implement this as an experiment and see if it succeeds. But anyway, I am very supportive of MUPTI and would encourage the council to vote to approve it. In the state of Oregon, this experiment with sort of low to medium density car-dependent development patterns has been an abject failure. We just saw in the topic we were talking about, one of the major issues was parking. And often we prioritize the ability of cars to get around and our ability to store cars over the needs of human beings. Additionally, at both the state and local level, we're proposing new taxes and new fees in order to support the infrastructure that supports this car-dependent mode of living. I think MUPTI will help this situation by starting to encourage a different pattern of development. For one, it supports it in two ways. For one, greater density means greater tax revenue within a smaller unit area. 30 units of housing on a block are the same amount of asphalt basically for road construction as 3 detached single-family homes. But they bring in a lot more tax revenue and they bring in a lot more economic activity because those are all people that are going to be frequenting local businesses, et cetera. Secondly, by connecting people to the resources that they need, having people living closer to doctors' offices, to bars and restaurants, to grocery stores, that's less car trips that they need to take. I myself live over in Ward 1. My wife and I chose the home that we own because it is close to services. We live near restaurants, we live near places where we can buy food and get the basic needs of daily life. And as a result of that, I now only have to put gas in my car once a month at most, and it is not a new car. So in summation, I wholeheartedly support this proposal. I would encourage the council to please vote to approve. Additional policies that I think we should look into would be to reduce or eliminate exclusionary zoning, rework the system of system development charges to factor in public benefit.
So for the purpose of this hearing, I need to, because you're going off topic.
Sorry.
All right. Thank you.
But thank you.
I get it, but thank you. Next is Billy McGregor, Ward 1.
Good evening, members of the council. I am Billy McGregor, also a neighbor of Alex Rice. I will keep this short and simple. I highly support density in Albany where density is appropriate. For the purposes of this as a pilot program, I hope that it succeeds. I would love to see this expanded into the CFAs and combined with CFEC regulations. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we'll hear from those that are in opposition. Cameron Settlemire.
I'm Cameron Settlemire. People are struggling in Albany. The roads are crumbling. Albany has budget issues. How do we deal with it? Fees keep getting added to the water bills. This is a very regressive tax. The MUPTI proposes a tax policy that's worst, tax breaks for the rich. The area is downtown, the waterfront. What will be built here? Not affordable housing, no, it will be luxury units for people moving into the area. It will also add increased costs to the city, utility, transportation needs. In order to qualify as a public benefit, only 15% of the units have to be affordable to 80% median income. This is a very low threshold. It should be more like 30% of the units affordable to 60% median income. Or they have the option to pay 10% of the total tax savings back to the city. Really? Letting developers get huge tax savings that are somehow a public benefit because they pay 10% of the savings back? They keep 90%. How is this a public benefit? The 7 or 10-year tax abatement public benefits are vaguely defined and low standards. As a property owner, I pay thousands in property tax. 100% of that is a public benefit, 100%. You know why? Because it goes to government, it goes to schools, it goes to pay the lights here, it goes for the police force, for the fire department, it goes for education, it goes for the things that make the city work. 100% of it that I pay in property taxes is a public benefit. If developers are not willing to pay their fair share, they really shouldn't be developing here. That's just a basic matter of fairness. So if you want affordable housing, this is a poster child of how not to do it. For example, if you want affordable housing, you could say 100% of this area is going to be for affordable housing. We're going to take that tax revenue and we're going to use it for affordable housing. It doesn't do anything like that. So this needs either major changes to it, or you need to vote no on the MUPT and make developers pay their fair share. This is trickle-down housing at its worst. Tax the poor to give to the rich.
Thank you. I will now call on those who did not register to speak. Any member of the public interested in speaking today on this topic? Thank you. Does staff have final comments in response to the testimony presented?
Thank you. I would just make one comment in response to the affordable housing conversation, and that is that while there is an affordable housing component added into this program guide as it's written, that's not the express intent of MUPD per the ORS. It really is focused on creating multi-units near transit, near services and amenities. So while affordable housing is a component of this program, it's not the intent. And there are other city programs that this council has considered recently that specifically target affordable housing.
So does the council have any questions for staff?
I have a question. We discussed in the past making the 10% in lieu of payment directed at the Affordable Housing Fund, the fund that is starting with the construction excise tax. Money would go to that direction, be used for nothing but that. So I just wanted to bring up that for people who weren't familiar with that conversation or may have forgotten it.
Thank you.
Any other questions for staff?
I do have a question about the in lieu of payment, actually, and this could be my ignorance coming in midstream, but how did we arrive at the 10% number?
Sure.
Because, like, that's my question.
Okay, yeah. Some communities don't have an in lieu of fee. Some do. 10% of the ones that do, 10% is the industry standard. So this being a new program and us looking to other communities to see what they're doing, that seemed like a good place for us to start as well.
Do we have any information from those communities then about what ratio developers choose to do either the public benefit route or the in lieu of payment route?
We could probably come up with a ratio. We don't have that in front of us right now. It would, of course, vary depending on the areas of each city where the MUPD boundaries are. Some of that is kind of determined by where you choose to put your boundary, where market might drive more paying the in lieu of fee rather than the affordable
Right, which
housing.
is going to be more expensive, paying the in lieu of fee or paying for the public benefits. I mean, I would assume that for most developers, it's probably it's a simple economic calculation, right?
Yeah, and also true affordable housing developers are kind of in a separate category than most other developers. So there are probably only a handful that would truly do that type of development in Albany, at least that we've seen so far. So I would imagine that the in lieu of fee would be used.
Follow-up question?
Yes.
10% of, what is it 10% of? The value of the development?
It's of the foregone revenue.
Thank you.
And I would just add, obviously, to try to compare to a lot of other jurisdictions, as we've heard tonight, the number of public benefits varies kind of widely between the communities. There is a reporting piece that's part of the MUPD of staff coming back and being able to report. The way we've set this up, or the way Sophie set it up, I take no credit here, it is through an ordinance, we established the MUPD tool. And then through resolution, we established the program guide, which makes it fairly easy for us, or for us, for council to make adjustments as we kind of audit, how's the program going? Is it working well? Are the things that are working great? Are they overusing a certain tool? Are they underusing certain tools? We can make adjustments to that as part of that reporting. And also understanding this is, as I mentioned before, probably not a tool that gets really widely used. It's going to be a handful at first, but that's where, this is where a pilot kind of comes in, is we can kind of see how it works. You can tinker with it on the fly.
So it would not be particularly difficult for this council if we find that a tool that we find is not providing the type of public benefit that we want, and we want to incentivize folks to provide greater impact things, services, like we can do that midstream.
Yes, we can amend the program guide.
Sounds kind of like setting the street tree fee so that we're not incentivizing the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question for you. Now, whomever we give this benefit to, they're going to want the fire truck to show up and the police department to show up. Are we going to claw back on public safety, or is that exempt as well?
No, they're not affected by this.
So what I'm saying is that whoever builds whatever is going to want that fire truck to show up, and they're not paying taxes for 7 or 10 years. Do we have the ability to claw back public safety fees?
Do they pay for the levy?
They still have to pay the levy and those other ones? Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Yes, yeah,
As
sorry,
long as they're
if I
paying-
wasn't understanding your
long-
question. Yes,
As long as
correct.
they're paying for that fire truck to show up.
Yes.
While that police officer go in the building, then I'm fine with it.
Yes.
They're also subject to the city services fee as well.
Oh, that's good. Okay. So any more questions for staff? Okay, thank you. I will declare the public hearing closed at 8:03. Would anybody like a bio break? Let's go ahead and get through this. Okay, let's get through this. There's an ordinance on your consideration on pages 108 and 109 of the council packet. Will the city attorney please read the ordinance in title only?
An ordinance amending the Albany Municipal Code, AMC, Title III by creating Chapter 3.10 and enacting a multi-unit property tax exemption MUPD program.
Is there a motion to read the ordinance a second time in title only?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no.
No.
We're gonna have to bring this back.
Yep.
Thank you. Bio break, take 10 minutes. Thank you for being back at 8:13 PM. Next, tonight's agenda is public comment. Public comment is a time for Albany's residents to speak and for councilors to listen. The council won't discuss topics or make decisions during the public comment time, but will take comments or requests under advisement. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes and must follow the council's rules and observe the same standards of decorum. If unable to do so, they will be asked to step down and rejoin the audience for the rest of the meeting. When you get to the microphone, please give your name and state whether or not you live in the city of Albany. Written testimony comments was received from Jared Redmond and Stephen Smith. Okay. No better order. So I'll call Sophie Adams and Trina Henderson.
Good evening again. Sophie Adams. I manage economic development for the City of Albany. Part of my job gives me the pleasure of managing our contract with the Downtown Association for their Main Street services. And tonight, I would like to introduce Trina Henderson, who is the new Executive Director of the Albany Downtown Association.
Hi, good evening, councilors. My name is Trina Henderson. I'm the new director of the Albany Downtown Association. Thank you for having me here. One of the first things that I was tasked to do 2 weeks ago was Oregon Main Street, which brought over 250 people into the downtown area. And I just wanted to publicly thank the City of Albany because we could have not pulled that off without your help. So I used to work in Salem as a marketing director and project management and community relations and marketing. I've been in Albany almost all my life, but sorry, I'm nervous. So what drove me back to Albany is being part of the community. I'm community driven. I love being a part of our community. I started a 501c3 in Tangent, and our mission is to bring scholarships to our town. We relaunched the Harvest Festival this last year with a combine demolition derby, and we hosted our very first farmers market. So I also own a business here in town, Main and Oak Event Planning. We do community fundraising and also celebration of life. So I'm excited to be back in the downtown area. I look forward to working with everybody, and thanks for having me.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Next on tonight's agenda, action item number 6, resolutions alpha, fire and life safety services fee schedule, update from Fire Chief LaBelle and Battalion, Fire Chief? No. What's her title? Fire Marshal, Laura Radcliffe, pages 122 to 127 in your packet. Sorry about that.
Good evening, Mayor Johnson and councilors. I don't have a PowerPoint, so sorry to disappoint. My name is Laura Ratcliffe. I have the privilege of being Albany's Fire Marshal. In your packets in front of you are the requested Fire and Life Safety Division fee proposals. The proposed fee adjustments are necessary to ensure that the Albany Fire Department can continue to provide timely and effective service, as well as maintain compliance with updated safety standards. These increases will help offset rising operational expenses and allow us to maintain the high level of fire and life safety in our community that they expect and deserve. And I'll take any questions for anyone at this time.
I personally wasn't concerned about the fee adjustments. When was the last time the fees were adjusted?
Some in 23, some in 2019, and some are older than that.
So you're just bringing them all up to current standards?
Correct.
Council?
I move to adopt the updated fee schedule as published in the packet.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you all.
Have a good evening. Next on tonight's resolution B, Fire Med Program Rate Increase. Fire Chief LaBelle and Laura Ratcliffe. Oh, Changed up on me, okay.
Sorry, I told him I'd do it.
Introduce yourself to the rest of
All
the
right,
council.
my name is Ray Woolridge. I'm the Division Chief of EMS for the Albany Fire Department.
Thank you.
All right. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight, we are asking approval to raise the fire med fee from $70 to $85. The program is currently running in a deficit, and by raising the fee, it makes the program self-sufficient. There are other fire departments that only waive 50% of the bill to remain solvent. We felt that this would be confusing and potentially have a negative impact on enrollment and a less of a benefit for our members. This program has positively impacted many families, and we want to see it be successful in the future. Thank you, and do you have any questions?
So I know the last time it was updated was 2019, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, and so how many currently enrollees do you have?
Around 2,400.
2,400?
Yeah.
I gave him an application when I walked in today. So
Thank
he has
you.
that. So let me ask you a question. How often, what are those dollars used for?
So it goes directly to, basically it waives the deductibles. So with people having $1,000 deductibles now, it's not very solvent at the current price.
Right. I know that the Medicare Advantage plans are averaging $300 for the copay, one trip, one way.
Yes.
It's gotten expensive. Okay,
Yes.
Council, any questions at all?
Comment.
Got a comment?
I'm a proud member since 1995. It's a bargain at any price.
Thank you.
This is a reasonable increase.
Thank you.
Council? Do I have a motion?
I move that we accept the fee increase.
Second.
All those, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Thank you, council. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Adoption by motion, contract increase for ST-22-06, Gary Street Sidewalk, Safe Routes to School, Stacy Barkhauser, and Andrew Monaco. Pages 132 to 134 in your packet.
Good evening, Mayor and councilors. When council awards a construction contract, we almost always include a 10% contingency in the contract award. This contingency is used to cover change order costs when there is extra work that's not included in the contract. Albany's municipal code requires when a contingency goes above 10% that council has to approve that increase. Tonight, staff is requesting that council approve an increase to the contingency for the Gary Street sidewalk project from 10% to 25%. Payment for work completed to date on the project through September includes change orders that are equal to 6.3% of the construction contract. And staff does anticipate that there will be additional change orders that will exceed the 10% contingency that was approved with the contract. We are requesting that council approve the increase now, and this is to avoid either a delay in the contractor doing the work or situations where staff's asking the contractor to do extra work in good faith. This project includes construction of infill sidewalk on Gary Street between Grand Prairie Road and 34th Avenue. Funding is through a Safe Routes to School grant from the Oregon Department of Transportation. We received a grant of $1.28 million, and then the city includes this project in our transportation system plan, so we're able to use systems development charges for the required match. Emery & Sons Construction is the contractor on the project. They were awarded the contract in May. Work started in June, and we do expect that the project will be complete by the end of November. The changed conditions that we're seeing out in the field, they're primarily work that's required to tie improvements in the right-of-way to improvements on private property. There's, I think, 50 properties that are located adjacent to this project, and staff has been negotiating with some of them to purchase right away, and then the other property owners to determine how we're going to tie the public improvements to their private property. The estimated cost to purchase right away when we awarded the contract was $210,000. Staff actually was able to negotiate with property owners, and the cost to purchase right away is going to be $120,000. This is a $90,000 savings that will be applied towards the increase to the contract. So in essence, we're making improvements on private property instead of in exchange for purchasing the right-of-way. For this item, we are recommending that council by motion approve the increase for the project to 25%. This contingency will only be used if needed to pay for extra work that's not included in the contract.
Council, any questions?
Comments? This project is half in Ward 2 and half in Ward 3. The Ward 2 side is pretty much done. Ward 3 is getting there. It is changing the character of that part of Geary Street for the better. My husband has commented a number of times as we drive down that street all the time, Albany is growing up. And it's something that needed to be done for a long time. For years, the only sidewalk was on the Ward 3 side, south of 31st. And the neighbors got together to build that a long time ago. At about the same, well, it was after a former city councilor got the speed zone lowered to 25. Used to be 40. I've been really impressed with the work that the contractors have done to create driveway aprons that match the sidewalks. It is a big part of the job, and I was surprised that the money was stretching as far as it was. So great work, overdue, much appreciated.
What she said. I drive through there all the time, and it's looking really nice right now. So, council, what would you like to do with this? Have a motion?
Move we approve the increase.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Thank you. Item D on your packet, adopt by motion, award of, thank you so much. Are you staying for this?
I've got the next item
Okay.
too.
I didn't see your name yet. Award of contract for WWTP-24-707 compost expansion improvements. Engineer Stacy Brill Castro and Nolan Nelson. You're by yourself then.
Yes. So staff is requesting that council approve a contract with Kennedy Jenks in the amount of $1,598,600. This is to provide consulting services that are needed to expand the composting facility that's located at the city's wastewater treatment plant. We call this the Albany Millersburg Water Reclamation Facility. The cities of Albany and Millersburg constructed the I'm going to call it the WRF, in 2010. This was to replace the previous plant. The solids processing improvements that were constructed do not work as intended. I think council's heard this before, and this results in production of an unstabilized solid that can't be beneficially reused. And in lieu of this, the solids have to be hauled off-site and disposed of at the landfill. This comes at a cost. The cost to haul just one truckload of solids is about $700 per load. On average, we have 6 trucks running a day, 4 days a week. And then when you do the math, the annual cost is over $800,000. This is why in 2023, Millersburg and Albany got together and built a small-scale compost facility that's able to process about 25% of the solids that are produced at the plant. This compost facility has been very successful. It creates an exceptional Class A biosolid that meets all regulatory requirements and can be beneficially reused. Unfortunately, the remaining solids at the plant still do have to be hauled to the landfill, which is why we are looking to expand the composting facilities at the plant so that we can treat all the solids that the plant produces. We advertised a request for proposals to select a consultant to complete the design needed for this work. Kennedy Jenks, they are out of Portland. They were the only consultant that responded to the RFP. Staff is very familiar with this consultant. They're highly qualified. In fact, they were the engineer that designed the existing composting system. Funding for the design and construction of this project will be from settlements funds that the city of Albany and Millersburg received of $9.2 million. And then we also have a grant from the EPA of excuse me, I'm losing my voice, $1.5 million. Staff is requesting that council by motion approve the contract with Kennedy Jenks.
Council, any questions or comments?
Thanks for doing some dirty work. Sorry, I had to get in one pun tonight, or else I feel like I disappoint my husband. He likes to watch and say, man, how many jokes can you put in? But I want to make a motion to approve the award of contract for $1.6 million to Kennedy Jenks Consultants to design upgrades will at the Albany Millersburg facility process all biosolids on site instead of hauling them to landfills.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is business from the council. I'm going to start with Councilor Thompson.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a couple things. One, I just want to add one final statement related to my apology on Monday. Today, the council received an email from Ben Roach, which summarized our phone call, mine and Ben's, over the issue from Saturday. We talked it over and agreed to work towards solutions and where we can meet in the middle. It just so happens that right now before the community is the question of the Lynn County Sheriff's Levy. And Ben and I are going to show our united support for this absolutely needed measure before the voters. And secondly, I'm a fan of Albany's history. And tonight I wanted to just say a moment to say a little paragraph about an important figure in Albany's varied, rich history. Alan Hart was a highly regarded physician, radiologist, researcher, and writer who pioneered the use of X-ray technology in tuberculosis detection in the 1930s, literally saving countless lives in the United States and throughout the world. He was also a prolific writer and published several fiction novels. Hart called Albany, Oregon home in his youth, graduating from both Albany Union High School and Albany College. October, the reason why I'm saying this, October is the month of his birth. Many don't know about this highly successful native son due to his being a member of the LGBTQ community. Hart was a great American and man, and we should acknowledge his incredible contributions to medicine and that his academic origins were here in Albany. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Councilor. Nice history. Councilor Newton.
I got nada for you. Are you surprised? I need you to oh my goodness, that look.
Like, wow. Okay, Councilor Chris Van Dremelen.
No new business tonight.
Thank you. Councilor McLeod.
I think you've all heard enough from me tonight.
Councilor McGee.
Nothing tonight.
Councilor Smith.
I'll end the evening with some personal economics. I got my tax bill this week. I was expecting it. And I can report that for the current bill, I paid the city of Albany $1,510.75 in property taxes. The bill was $103.64 higher than last year. The assessed value of my home was $5,220 higher than last year. And the broken down by 365 days a year, I pay the city $4.13 in property taxes.
I have to do that with mine. Mine's on the counter.
It's an interesting exercise.
So I had the pleasure today to hand the keys to a brand-new home to a young couple here in Albany, Oregon. A program called First Story. Counselor McGee was a part of it, and so was Counselor Smith. And we talked about the journey from building smaller footprint homes in the city of Albany. And it's really nice to see a young couple go through the process, the interview, to be selected to get their first home. And watching the young lady, the little girl, run in the house, and she was happy, ran right to her bedroom, already picked it out. To see that, the look and smile on that family's face was tremendous. I want to thank Hayden and all the folks that contributed to that program. And First Story is a great program. And they've given away houses in Albany for the last 20 years or something like that. So it's a really nice program. If you ever get a chance to submit, know somebody that could use a house, please have them apply for it next year. And with that, I'll turn it over to the city manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just two things for you this evening. We're able to cancel the 3rd of November work session, which is would be your next meeting. So your next meeting will be the 5th of November. And then to let you know also that Deputy City Manager Kayla Barbara Parada and myself will be at the ICMA conference next week. So Matthew Rutgers will be pro tem city manager, acting city manager, Monday through Wednesday of next week. I'll be back Thursday morning. And that is all I have, Mayor.
And with that, I'll adjourn the meeting. See you November 5th at 6 p.m.